And Barb, why don't you go next?
Okay, I'm Barb Anderson. I am treasurer of the State League, and I have been treasurer for just a little over a year. I'm from the Roseville Area League. Although I have not been the treasurer of our league, I worked closely with the treasurer for several years, so I'm very familiar with what needs to happen when you're a treasurer. So here I am.
Thanks, Barb. Wes.
Hi, Wes Falconant. I'm with the Anoka Blaine Coon Rapids League up in Anoka County. This is Princess Sasha. I'm out on the deck doing a little cat sitting right now, and she wanted to be outside. So I'm actually doing this on my Android, which is a first for me. I'm usually on like a Chromebook or a laptop, but it's working, which is great. I've been treasurer up here, I believe, about 2 years. I replaced Kay McCauley, who had been our treasurer for many years, and hopefully it's working. Although I think Bridget would tell you it was probably working better with Kay, because I seem to keep having some odd numbers each time I end up submitting to Bridget, it seems like. So
No worries. We sorted out, Wes. Thank you. Pat Johnson.
I'm Pat Johnson. I've been in the Northfield League for about, I think, 6 years, and I've been serving as co-president up until May, and in May I became treasurer. So I'm trying to figure it all out. So any help I can get is deeply appreciated.
Thank you for taking that on, Pat. All right, Peg.
Yeah, I'm Peg DeBoard. I'm typically the president of the League of Women Voters in South Tonka, but I'm kind of the interim treasurer right now while we're trying to figure out what we're doing for treasurer. So I figured I better step in and figure out what the hell I'm supposed to be doing.
Great. Barb Link. Oh, you're on mute, Barb.
Minnetonka in Prairie Hopkins. I've probably been treasurer, maybe this is my 5th year, so anxious to know if there's anything new that I need to be aware of.
Great. How about Jenny Amundsen?
Yes, I'm from Rochester, and I have been treasurer, just actually trying to figure that out, since 2011. So it's been a few years.
Okay, Kathy.
I'm Kathy McComber. I'm with the Roseville Area League, and I've been treasurer since May.
Great. Welcome aboard. We're so glad to have you. All right, Linda.
Yeah, I'm Linda Whitty, and I'm with the St. Peter Area League, and I've been the treasurer for about 2.5 years.
Great. Let's see, Rebecca. Oh, I caught you away from your camera.
Oh, am I?
Yep, we can hear you.
I'm sorry about that. I was just getting a call from my sister talking about my sister-in-law's surgery, so I was kind of distracted, but we're good.
No worries, no worries. That's much more important.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we're good. I'm with the Brooklyn Park Osseo Maple Grove League, maybe 23 or 24 members, so we feel like we're pretty small. I've been treasurer for several years, but it seems like I've always learning something new that I should have known. And so it's always good to have updates. So thank you.
Great. Susan Clark.
Hi, I'm Susan Clark, and I'm with the League of Women Voters Edina as the first vice president voter service chair. And why I'm on this call is because I'm first vice president and finance chair of the League of Women Voters Minnesota. So that's why I'm on the call.
Great. And then I think the last, oh no, I've got Susan Cutler. You're on mute, Susan. Oh, maybe she doesn't know how to unmute. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here. We're glad to have you. If you know how to type things into the chat, you can put any questions or anything you have in there. And Thana, please say hello.
Hi, Thana Ross, nominally treasurer in Dakota County into our second year, but we're a state unit, not a local league, so we're just practicing, I guess.
Well, thank you everybody for being here. We're so glad to have you. I am Bridget Jordan. I am the finance person at the Minnesota League of Women Voters. I'm the person that you submit your reports to at the end of the fiscal year. I'm the person who will send you your, oh, thank you, Jenny. I could unmute Susan. I will do that after I finish introducing myself, and she can say hello. Yeah, so any questions you have, feel free to shoot them my way. Sometimes I have to refer you to other treasurers because I'm not out there doing the work of a treasurer. So I don't often have my finger on the pulse of the daily work that you guys do. So sometimes I will refer you to another treasurer instead of giving you the answer myself, but I'm happy to do that. Happy to kind of be a resource to connect you with other treasurers if you need it. So, all right, and then I will unmute. Oh, somebody already unmuted Susan Cutler.
Yeah,
Would you like to say hello?
Yeah, I figured out how to do it. Can you hear
Great.
me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with the Park Rapids League since we started about 2000, so quite a while. And I've been treasurer for quite a long time and just kind of learned by trial and error. So I'm just wondering if there's something more that I should know about.
How many people do what you've done, Susan, and do really well at it. You guys are a resourceful bunch. Okay, and then Patsy Green, I think, joined us. Patsy, would you like to say anything, introduce yourself at all? We were saying how many years we've been a treasurer and what league we're with. Here, Patsy, you'll have to let me, oh yeah,
Okay.
You're unmuted now.
I'm with the Crystal New Hope East Plymouth Robbinsdale League, and I am not the treasurer. We currently don't have a treasurer, so I am juggling that along with other duties. So I just figured I better jump on this and learn what I can.
Yahoo. All right, well, let us all know if we can help you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen because we've got, Barb and I have a little PowerPoint. I'm going to start off with a few of the deadlines and stuff that we're working with. And then Barb is going to take over and give you some accounting basics. And so hopefully you can see the screen. Everybody can see the August Academy Treasurers 101 page.
Yep.
Yes.
Great. All right. So welcome to our August Academy. Those of you that came last year, this is going to be a little bit similar. We want to go through kind of some of the basics of being a treasurer so that we can help anybody who's new to the treasurer roles, and then also give you guys an opportunity to ask each other questions after we're done with our presentation. I find that just getting the treasurers together twice a year for August Academy and January Jumpstart, I think is really helpful for you guys, you know, to be able to say, you know, how do you guys deal with this specific thing? So we'll have some time for that at the end of the presentation. And also, if you have any feedback for us about how we can better support you, we are completely open to hearing that. We want to be doing our best to support you. So are open to hearing about ways that we can improve on that. Okay, so here's kind of an overview of what we're doing. I'll be going through some reporting deadlines, some very basics on the financial report. For those of you who are LLCs under the League of Minnesota, League of Women Voters Minnesota umbrella, you have to turn in a financial report to us at the end of the fiscal year. And so we'll go over a little bit on that, although we go more into depth on that in our January Jumpstart. I'm also going to say a few words about Irs Communications, and then Barb is going to go over bookkeeping and budgeting. So that's what's ahead. Okay, so League of Women Voters Minnesota Treasurer deadlines. Every February, you will receive a bill from the League of Women Voters Minnesota for your PMP dues, per member payment dues. You'll get the bill at some point in February. I can't promise you that date. Your membership people upload all their membership information into the system by January 31st. And then sometime in February, we take all that information and create your bills. If you pay that invoice to us for your PMPs by March 31st, you get to take advantage of a 5% discount on those PMP dues. So it's important to keep your eyes peeled for that invoice. And yes, Susan, you look like you have a question.
Yeah, I wonder how much we can count on that. I always wonder, well, are they still going to do that 5% discount this year or not? So it sounds like I can pretty much just count on that.
I think so. Susan Clark, I don't know if you want to say a few words. I don't know if the board has been discussing. I haven't heard that discount being done away with, any talk of that for a long time. Susan Clark?
I think that discount is going to stay in effect at least for the next year. And I mean, I have to do it year by year, but I think next year is a good year to say we'll have it still.
Great.
Possibly into the future. Who knows?
It's been here the whole time I've been here, which is, I think, 5-ish years. So, yep. Okay. And then in March is when I send out that financial report that I was talking about for the leagues that are LLCs under our umbrella. They have to fill out a financial report because their information gets reported on our 990. And so in March, that report gets sent out and treasurers have to fill out that report and send me copies of any bank statements for checking, savings, or investment accounts. And that's usually due by the end of April. The key to the success in that report is taking the fiscal year bank balance that you reported on your last report, or your previous treasurer reported on the last report to me, and then adding your revenues for the current fiscal year, subtracting your expenses for the current fiscal year, and then that number you come up with at the end of the year should equal the amount that's your bank, that's showing on your bank statement at the end of the current fiscal year. So we will delve into this in much more detail in January, right before these reports are due. So try not to worry too much about this yet. Save questions and worries about that for our January jumpstart. And we'll delve into that. And I am always happy. I've worked with several of you. If you're having any trouble with those financial reports, I am happy to sit down with you and comb through and try to figure out if you're having any difficulties, try to work with you on any of that. So happy to do that. All right, IRS communications. We've had some major IRS headaches in the state office over the last several years. And so we want to make sure that if the IRS is reaching out to you guys, we would like to hear about that. And we don't want you to be doing anything, filing any sort of paperwork, anything with IRS offices before checking with the state office first. So if you are an LLC under our umbrella, do not pass go, do not collect $200 with your letter from the IRS. Please forward it straight to us and we will help you resolve whatever the issue is. Any questions on any of that? All right, seeing no questions, I think we're moving into Barb's section. Take it away, Barb.
Thank you. Someone asked if in the chat if the discount noted on, is it noted on the invoice?
Yes, yes, the discount is noted on the invoice. The first ones I send out in February have the discount. If you haven't paid that invoice by the end of March, then I'm gonna start bugging you and I take that discount away and send you a new invoice that does not have the discount on it. If I have to remind you if your payment's not in. And, you know, I mean, I usually give a few days of grace, you know, say you mail your check on the 31st or whatever, you know, I'm not after you on April 2nd saying you don't get the discount anymore. But, you know, if you're in the middle of April and you haven't cut your check yet, you're probably going to have to cut it for the whole amount.
Thank you. I'm going to talk about best practices, and this is very general. And what you do specifically in your league everyone will be different. But in general, you should be using a system of some kind, whether you use an Excel spreadsheet or Quicken or some other spreadsheet. You need to keep track in one place of all of your transactions that happen. And they should be organized by budget category. And when I say budget category, it should probably have a good match with the actual budget. So if you've got a spreadsheet with your budget on it, then your report, your system should be able to track those transactions by the category that you've set up in your budget. The next thing you want to make sure you do is document expenses. So to keep receipts, and they don't always have to be in a paper form. They can be in a digital form, so that when, for example, some of your members submit requests for reimbursement or payment, they might have a cash register receipt, but you can easily have them digitize it. So scan it or in some way, and then attach it to a request for payment, which then would be sent to you. And the request for payment can be a form that you create that just says who are you paying, what the purpose of it, what the budget category is, and then it should be signed off by the committee chair or the president or whoever you designate to approve expenses in your particular league. You can go to the next one, Bridget. So this is just an example of a spreadsheet that that actually we have used in the Roseville Area League to record the expenses. And so it's just, you can see it's got a date and a payee, the description, what check number was used, the total amount of the payment, and then if there's multiple categories, then you can distribute that within those categories. And obviously there's more, but they didn't fit on this spreadsheet. So this is just an example of, you can have lots of columns on your own spreadsheet, but it's just an example of keeping track of your expenses and income. Next one, Bridget. So when you're budgeting, obviously you take direction from the board. So the board will indicate if they're going to continue current priorities or make any changes. And in general, it's probably the easiest thing to do is to base your budget on your actual expenses and revenue for the previous year, but then to revise it as you need to reflect changing priorities or a change in membership numbers or different activities that are going on. You'll estimate your revenues that are based on the total membership that you have in your league, and then also any fundraising that you do or donations that you generally receive. Estimate your expenses and revise as needed. Maybe that should say, instead of revise it as needed, say budgets are just a guideline. So you can go over your budget as long as your board is aware of it and approves it. And it's okay, because when you're creating a budget, you're guessing about the future, and we all know how things can change. So don't feel that once you've reached the amount on your budget that you have to stop there. It just means that you need to have a discussion with the board about what your expenses should be. Next one, Bridget.
There we go.
So this is stolen from the Edina League, in case, Susan, if this looks familiar to you or not. This is an example of the monthly reporting that the Edina League does. And it's a really good example of meshing the report to your board with your budget. So this, because of the size of this only has one column on it. But what Edina does is they have a column for every month of the fiscal year. And so it then accumulates at the very end with a total, but you don't have to print that whole thing. You can choose to hide columns or select columns, but it gives you an opportunity for the month to reflect what all of your transactions are. So this, starting with income, we've got show the total of the March transactions, and then beginning the expenses. This is a 2-page document. So if you go to the second page, Bridget, you can see that it goes through all of the different categories. And then at the very bottom, there's a reconciliation with the checking account. So you've got all of the information that you need in one place. And as I said, this is just an example, but it's a good example. And there might be additional information like individual transactions that you may want to report to your board as well. And this varies from that in that it is totals for the month. So it doesn't show any individual detail on transactions.
If anyone would like a copy of the spreadsheet that Edina uses, I would be happy to email that out. I asked Jean Tracy, who is the treasurer I was working with, if she would be willing to let me share that, and she said that she would. And so I can just empty all those fields out and you can kind of copy it if anyone needs to. So if anyone would like that, feel free to email me at the state office and I can get you a copy of that spreadsheet.
Can I add one thing, Bridget?
Yeah.
When you're looking at it, this is a nice one. Another thing, I mean, ours is set up a little differently. And one of the things that I like to have on there is to keep track, to also maybe have the year to date and then also the budgeted amount. So then you can kind of look at how you're doing compared to the budget.
Mm-hmm.
So those would be a couple other fields that somehow you could put on there.
And I think they probably were on there and I deleted them didn't include just so that we could fit it on the slide.
Yeah, we do have budget and we do have year to date on there as well.
Okay, because yeah, there was another group that I belonged to that when he did it, it's like they didn't have year to date or the budget. There was one of, they didn't have actually monthly. They just had, and I thought, so not everybody thinks of, even though that had been a long established one. So yeah, I think again, so this looks good.
Okay.
So I
Next
need a request for a copy, so I'll get a copy to you.
and Peg DuBois requested one.
Yeah. Great.
So I'm ready for the next slide when you are.
All right. Let me get back in here. Okay. So now we have our opportunities page. I'll speak about the first one. As I mentioned before, we're looking for experienced treasurers who wouldn't mind answering some questions for the new treasurers. So if anyone has been a treasurer for a while and feels comfortable asking or answering questions, I would love to get your name as somebody who is willing to be a mentor. As I said, I often will get questions from treasurers about how to handle things, and I don't always know the answer. So I would love to be able to connect people with somebody who is actually doing the work. So please don't feel like you have to have an answer for every question, but if you've been doing this for a while and are pretty comfortable, I would love to be able to use you as a mentor. So again, email me if you're interested in being a mentor. I would love to have you. And Barb, I'll let you talk about the other.
All right, thank you. I'm putting in a plug for the finance committee, the state finance committee. State League is looking for at least one other person, hopefully two, to join the finance committee. It gives you an opportunity to see how everything works at League from a nuts and bolts kind of perspective. And it doesn't require a whole lot of work. We meet once a month, the week before the board meeting, and it requires that you read the materials ahead of time. Very rarely, there are some assignments made in between meetings, but mostly we want your judgment. We're looking for people who maybe are not in the metropolitan area, but from greater Minnesota, that will give us a better perspective for kind of a broader perspective of all of our leagues. And so we would love to have you join us. And if you are interested in that, please send me an email and I will be happy to follow up with you.
Great. Thank you, Barb. And with that, I think we're done with our presentation portion. So thank you so much for attending. And I will stop sharing my screen. We can look at each other again. And if people have any, issues that you want to bring up in front of other treasurers, want help brainstorming on things, now is your time.
Linda Whitty asked, what financial records should local leagues retain and for how long?
Yeah, so kind of a good rule of thumb on financial records, there are various things out there, but for the most part, 7 years is a good, general time frame to keep stuff for. I don't think people have any employees, so that kind of stuff doesn't really affect leagues. So yeah, I think you can go with the 7-year mark in general. We'll cover most things.
So does that mean that like all those records for the year showing, receipts and bank reports, that those can all be recycled?
Yeah, as long as it doesn't have if it doesn't have your account number on it or something, I would be careful to shred anything that has, sensitive information on it. But anything beyond that, I think you're pretty safe to get rid of.
We have quite a few questions in the chat. Bridget, do you want to take them or?
Okay, yes, let me see. Okay, you've got your email address out there. How much of the payment to the local league is tax exempt? There is an answer to this on our website. I don't have it right at the top of our head, right at the top of my head, but I can look for that. Let me see if I can find it on our website while we're on here, and I'll link us to that page. Are leagues using PayPal and or Venmo to collect dues from members or to pay bills? Is it okay to set up your own account if we want to do that? Okay, I know that several leagues do have PayPal.
Yes.
We do.
Go ahead. Anybody who is more of an expert than me on that, please jump in.
South Tonka does.
In
it does.
ABC we collect income, but we're not paying any bills in that fashion.
Right.
That's
Same
what
as
we're
that.
doing in Northfield.
That's it. That's what South Tonka's doing too.
And Edina as well, so.
So
In
can you,
Roseville as well.
this was my question. So what's in general, what are the fees? And you have to set up like a business account with PayPal? If you're just, is it cheaper than to not pay bills that way, but just to collect income? Is that why you do it that way?
There is a loss of income, so to speak.
Right.
On a typical $60 dues, the fees actually went up this year. I think right now we're getting something like $57.42 or something like that out of a $60 dues payment through our PayPal. So in effect, cost of doing business in that case is about $2.58 per $60. And of course, it's a little bit higher. Like in our case, if they do a couple at $90, then that would be the fee is probably up to $4 in some sense.
It's about 3%.
Yeah, ours isn't that high. Maybe it's because we set ours up as a charity. I mean, you can, the C, and I can't remember, C4, no, the C3. Used to know that was
501c3.
Thank you, 501c3. So when we set ours up, we said that. And so, yeah, ours aren't that high at all. I'm gonna say like for $100, it's like about $2.50.
Wow.
Yeah, that's about right.
Right.
That's what ours is.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is,
So yeah, so you may want to check and make sure that you have that set up.
Yeah, I inherited this, whoever set it up about 15 years ago or whatever. I will look into that. It's a very helpful piece of information.
this is Linda Whitty from St. Peter, and we're in the process of just setting ours up. And we were able to do, you have to do a little extra step to prove that you're a legitimate charity. But then it was 1.99% plus 49 cents was how they, the information we received on what the fees would be.
And
Wow.
when we do ours also, we only, well, like it'll be for membership or for events. And I'm not, well, we haven't done an event yet, so I'm not exactly sure how we'll do that. But for membership, we have it where you can select your membership type, and then on there you can also, in the basically the same place, do a donation. And we actually say in there, you know, and if you'd like to donate to cover fees, we suggest $3. And so it's a little short on some, a little over on some. And we get about half of the people that will donate the little extra to help us cover our fees.
Is this something, are you leagues that also have websites? And so is your PayPal a way to recruit membership fees directly from a website, or is it?
That's exactly how South Ponca does it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a very fair statement. The donate button, just like you might see on a campaign page or something.
Okay, and I don't know, thank you. I don't know much about Venmo, but I've done it personally with my family members, and it's kind of slick, but I don't know how, if Venmo offers a business or nonprofit level of transactions.
Venmo's pretty much person to person.
Yeah.
Not, yeah.
Okay, so I think I just feel like I'm a bit of a dinosaur if I only can take membership fees through cash or check, and it's, you know, hard to get those collected sometimes. So I was wanting to look at, you know, some PayPal or type of service.
Our membership has increased since we did it. So we've got new members because we are able to, they're able to go to our website, click on the membership tab, and some people don't even want to be active members. They just want to contribute and be a kind of a silent member. So we've got quite a few people that did that.
Okay, and we don't yet have a website, but I could do this as on a Facebook page as well, a donate button, I believe.
That's a good question. I haven't done that. I bet you can.
Yeah, I think you can. You may want to, you know, work with the state office, because if you're going to do membership online, to get it connected to the data bank. And so then when they, you know, if you can have that, then all of the information will go into, you know, and so you're working with membership and the fees and everything works together. And if you can get that set up, that works really well.
Okay, thank you.
And you will want to have a PayPal account set up prior to that, because when the state helps you set up that on their website, they need access to your PayPal account information.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and I did find the section on our website that addresses the tax deductibility of dues. So I put that link in the in the chat.
So that's something also that I think we have kind of talked about it sometime, but we ran into it again, where if people want to use, oh, now I'm not remembering because this came up a while ago. so they have a thing set up, and so that then it's like a charitable donation, but you can't use that to cover because it isn't all tax deductible. So you have to be very clear about what, where you can accept donations from. And so I know we had someone, and I think I was able, they had done it through there, and they had to send us a separate check to cover the part that isn't tax deductible. So it's doable, but you got to make sure you are watching for that.
Great.
So I'm looking at the webpage, and it says that the national PMP is not tax deductible. Do we know how much that is?
That I believe is $32.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you're under the league umbrella, then it's only $32 of the payment that is made to you would not be tax
Would
deductible.
not be tax deductible. Okay.
Or if it's joint, then it's 48.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, any other questions we want to network on?
So Bridget, my question that got lost a little bit is that who do I contact about roster management?
Yeah.
Well, roster management is, well, if you're talking about, boy, good question. I know that state roster management is Kristen right now. But sometimes if you're trying to do the national stuff, then you have to work with national. So I guess I would start with Kristen, and if she can't help you, she'll let you know who at national you need to deal with.
Thank you.
Yep.
I would ask a question about the Martin Brown grant. We did receive some funds, and so we're going to be ordering some supplies. And so I just need to document on our expenses and where that money is being spent, I suppose. Is there, do you know, is there a form or something I fill out if I'm ordering like league materials?
Good question. I know that Laura Helmer handles all the Martin Brown grant stuff.
Okay.
And so I don't know what the process is on that. All I do is cut the checks for it. They let me know how much you guys get, and then I cut the checks. So I would check with Laura Helmer to find out what kind of documentation you need to keep.
I think the
grant report does it for us.
Yeah, you just keep track of what you spend on voter service, specific to voter service. And then you can use those. And then when you do your write-up.
And just put it in the right spot on my spreadsheet.
Yeah, you can add a narrative to it to explain those.
Thank you, Hive Mind. Okay. Can you provide, okay, Linda Whitty wants to know, can we provide language we should use regarding tax deductibility when we send out a membership acknowledgement?
Hey, Bridget, I have a question now. So is it the same? Is the tax deductible, what's tax deductible and not tax deductible the same, whether you are under the league or not? Because I thought that was a little different. So if you haven't gone through that process, is that different?
I think, Barb, were you about to?
Well, I was just going to say that individual leagues might already be 501c3s. And so if they are, it really is no different. It's just you're under your own umbrella rather than that of the state league.
Well, I know it used to, before we became a 501c3, I thought like almost all the leagues, and I know Susan, you probably know this better, but we were all 501c4s. And because that was, the way things were interpreted with the tax law years ago. And so that's kind of why the state had an ed fund and the other, then the regular part, the 501c3 and the 501c4. And I thought all the local leagues were 501c4. So one of the advantages was to be able to become a 501c3 under the state's umbrella. So unless a local league has gone through, I don't, but some of them may have been C3s also, I don't know.
I think there are a few of the larger ones that are 501c3s on their own. If you're not under the league umbrella, it's not too late if you want to become so, but you would need to contact Michelle Whitty. Because I know there are a couple of local leagues now who are thinking about making that change.
Do any leagues have any language that they use to acknowledge that partial credit that Linda Whitty could piggyback on? Susan Cutler, you?
I just, the way I do it is once a year after January 1st, I send a letter to each member that I have labeled as acknowledgement of dues. And so I write down how much they contributed. And I'm a little mixed up about, I knew about that the US dues are not tax deductible. Now I'm trying to remember if I'm putting their whole amount, but at any rate, the amount they've donated is I think you need the date they donated it, and then I have some kind of generic language about this may be tax deductible. Check with your
account.
It is, check with your financial advisor.
Sure. Yep.
And the feedback I've gotten is a lot of people, their federal returns, it doesn't end up helping their tax burden, but the state one, it might. But it seems like it's mostly maybe people who do a lot of itemizing. And so most of the members don't even use, or they don't make use of that information.
Yeah.
At least that's how I do it, and that's the feedback I've gotten.
Yeah.
I've been doing something similar, but I do mine right after the receipt of the income, whether it comes in from PayPal or via check. I usually try to get something out within 2 to 3 days after it's been deposited. And I do something, sir. I'm more of a narrative guy. So when I do mine, I do a little statement up, keep this for your tax records for next year, and introduce who I am so that for the records it's indicated who I am. And then I usually spell out, this is, you gave $100 to us, and of that $90 went to your couple's dues and $10 was a donation. The total amount that is tax deductible is, and then based on what our formula is, I let them know how much of that, including, and then I usually will spell out plus the $10 donation equals, and then let them know what that final, whatever that $43 or whatever that is, and let them know what that actual amount is. And I tend to do most of mine via email because the PayPal always have a email address attached, and typically with the members that do it by check, we've got an email contact for them. So I try to get that email reply back out to them then.
Yeah, and I don't know if you want me to share my screen, I can show you the letter I use.
Yeah.
That'd be
Sure.
great.
Okay, so I don't know, so. And this one is just one that came from when we became the 501c3, and then I've modified it some. And our league voted, and we do it right again, end of January, early February. And we decided to do that because that way people won't be complaining about it, and we do, you know, paper and I mail it out. But again, talking again about, you know, saving the notice, name, address, amount, dues received, donation received, and we include where your dues go, so you can see. And so then it then totals the tax.
This is
deductible
so
amount.
nice, Jenny. I love it.
That's a very nice one.
Well, again, this was provided originally by the state in a little booklet, in a little stuff when we became the 508. And then again, did you know how you can assist by making the donation and how to make the donations and how we're doing, and that we are 501c3. So
what
I can share this, Bridget, if you want me to send you this.
That would be awesome.
Okay, I will do that.
This is Linda Whitty. As I mentioned, you know, we're setting up our PayPal and working through the data bank. We might want to loop Kristen in this too, because there's automated messages that go out to members, and it does speak to some of this. We need to make sure we're all being consistent. I think that's where I've had my confusion.
I think unfortunately there was some history lost. I don't think there's a lot of information available about what happened in that transition period when people went from being 501c4s to 501c3 under the league's umbrella.
That's right. It was a complete turnover in the Minnesota office staff.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'll probably email Ginny's letter out to almost everybody on the thing, and if you didn't want it, too bad.
Disregard.
I like that idea of sending out the acknowledgement right away, because then I wouldn't have this pile to do in January.
I also think it lets people know that it was received, and it's a makes them feel good about what they've done.
Yeah.
Our league, we're a part of the data bank, the mini database program. And when you set up your pages for people to go in and donate and join, you can put a statement on it that says, you know, any statement you want. And we happen to have a statement that said that all but $32 of your dues payment is tax exempt. So we have that information. We don't have the disclaimer we have on our donate button. It's attached to that it's all tax deductible, but we don't have the statement about being a wholly owned subsidiary of League of Women Voters of Minnesota. So that's good to know that we can do some updates on that. But then they, so to extend that a little bit, when people donate, then they get an email receipt acknowledgement immediately, so that they've got all of that tax exempt information right on there.
All right, we have about 4 minutes left. Does anyone have any burning things they want to address in those last 4 minutes?
I've got one other question about tax stuff. We've had a student, she's been a high school student moving into college. She's been working on a special project for us, and we want to pay her a stipend. Are there tax things that go along with that, it would be $250, it's looking like.
There is no, you don't have to worry about taxes if it's only 250.
Okay,
When it gets to 600, that's the
Right, that
threshold.
You have to report it.
okay,
Right.
okay, okay. Thank you. That's good to know.
Great. Well, thank you all for coming. I will send, oh, Wes, did you have something else?
No, that was a wave.
That was a wave. Okay, great. I will email everybody with Ginny's awesome letter. And I know Peg wanted a copy of the Edina spreadsheet. If anyone else wants something like that, just email me. Email me if you want to be a mentor. Email Barb if you want to join the finance committee. Both are awesome opportunities. I'm an accountant, so I love this stuff. And I would assume with all of you being treasurers, you love it too. So come do more with us.
Bridget, never again.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great
Bye.
night.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.